Imagine a city of 2 million people falling silent in a single afternoon. No cars, no markets, no laughter, only the rhythmic thud of boots and the cold commands of teenage soldiers. This wasn't a movie, it was Cambodia in April 1975. At the center of this vacuum stood a man whose name became synonymous with the killing fields, Pol Pot. He didn't just want to change a country, he wanted to delete its memory. He wanted to reset the clock to year zero. Today, on Preo Tidings, we unmask the man who turned a tropical paradise into a graveyard of ideologies. How did a soft-spoken scholarship student become one of history's most efficient monsters? Let's find out.
Born in 1925 as Saloth Sar, the future dictator didn't grow up in poverty. He was born into a relatively wealthy family and even earned a scholarship to study radio electronics in Paris. It was in the cafes of France, far from the rice paddies of his home, that he discovered the radical theories of Marxism and Stalinism. When he returned to Cambodia, he didn't join the government, he disappeared into the shadows. He joined the burgeoning communist movement, eventually becoming the leader of the Khmer Rouge. For years, he lived in the dense jungles, plotting, waiting, and building an army of disenfranchised peasants. By the early 1970s, Cambodia was caught in the crossfire of the Vietnam War and internal instability. Pol Pot saw his opening. In 1975, his black-clad soldiers marched into the capital. The citizens, weary of war, greeted them with flowers. They thought peace had arrived. They were tragically wrong.
The moment Pol Pot took power, he declared that history was starting over. Everything old had to be destroyed. Within 24 hours, the Khmer Rouge ordered the total evacuation of every city in Cambodia. Hospitals were emptied, schools were closed, and families were separated. Pol Pot's vision was an extreme agrarian utopia, a world where everyone was a peasant. Currency was abolished, money was literally blown up in the streets. Religion was banned, temples were turned into pigsties. Intellect was a death sentence. If you spoke a second language, if you were a teacher, or even if you simply wore glasses, which was seen as a sign of being an intellectual, you were labeled an enemy of the state. The slogan of the regime was chilling. To keep you is no benefit. To destroy you is no loss. Millions were forced into grueling manual labor in the countryside, working 18 hours a day with only a bowl of watery rice porridge. This was the birth of the killing fields. The paranoia of Pol Pot knew no bounds. He began purging his own ranks, fearing spies everywhere. This led to the creation of the infamous S-21 prison, where thousands were tortured into signing false confessions before being executed. However, Pol Pot's aggression eventually led to his undoing. He launched attacks on the Vietnamese border, which provoked a full-scale invasion by Vietnam in late 1978. In early 1979, the Khmer Rouge were chased out of the capital and back into the jungles where they started. For the next 20 years, Pol Pot lived in hiding along the Thai-Cambodian border. He never faced an international tribunal. He never apologized. In 1998, as his former comrades were preparing to hand him over to an international court, he died in a simple bed in the jungle. Some say it was heart failure. Others believe it was suicide. He left behind a country where nearly 25% of the population had been wiped out under his 4-year rule. Today, Cambodia is a land of resilience. The scars of the Khmer Rouge are visible in the museums and the stories of survivors, but the nation has moved forward. The story of Pol Pot remains a haunting lesson of what happens when a leader values an ideology more than human life. Thank you for watching this deep dive on Preo Tidings. We aim to bring you the stories that history tried to bury. If you found this video valuable, please like and subscribe to our channel. It helps us keep telling these important stories. What other historical figures should we cover next? Let us know in the comments. I'm your host, and we'll see you in the next chapter of history.